This message is sponsored by Greenlight. With school out, summer is the perfect time to teach our kids real-world money skills they'll use forever. Greenlight is a debit card and the #1 family finance and safety app used by millions of families, helping kids learn how to save, invest, and spend wisely. Parents can send their kids money and track their spending and saving, while kids build money confidence and skills in fun ways. Start your risk-free Greenlight trial today at greenlight.com/Spotify. That's greenlight.com/Spotify.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? Well, with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills. Wait, did I say job title yet? Get started today and see how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. We'll even give you a $100 credit on your next campaign. Get started at linkedin.com/results. Terms and conditions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Polestar. There's only one true way to experience the all-electric luxury SUV Polestar 3, and that's to take a test drive. It can go from 0 to 60 in as little as 4.8 seconds with the dynamic handling of a sports car. But to truly understand how it commands the road, you need to be behind the wheel. Up to 350 miles of range, the 3D surround sound system by Bowers & Wilkins. It's all something you have to experience to believe. So book your test drive for Polestar 3 today at polestar.com.
Learning through play starts with Lego Duplo. With Lego Duplo, toddlers can develop real-life skills while having fun with colorful bricks made just for them. Large, easy to grip, and safe to explore. When children express themselves with Lego Duplo, they build patience, problem-solving, and empathy. See your child learn perseverance and self-expression with everything they imagine and create. Visit lego.com/preschool to learn more.
If you went on a road trip and you didn't stop for a Big Mac or drop a crispy fry between the car seats or use your McDonald's bag as a placemat, then that wasn't a road trip. It was just a really long drive. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
At participating McDonald's.
Welcome to the HCI family of podcasts. We're your source for personal, professional, and organizational growth and development. We share our own original research, explore industry trends, and interview executives and thought leaders from across the globe. Join us for practitioner-oriented content around all things leadership, HR, talent management, organizational development, and change management. Maximize your personal and organizational potential with the HCI family of podcasts. Heather Vickery, welcome to the conversation today.
Thank you so much for having me.
It is a pleasure to be with you. I'm joining you from south of Salt Lake City. Where are you at?
I am just outside of Chicago. We call it Chicago around here.
Right.
You can get there off the L line. We're just going to call it Chicago.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. Hopefully it's not too cold in Chicago right now. We're enjoying some really nice sunny weather here in Utah today, though we just had snow like over the weekend. So,
yep. Snowed yesterday. Spring in the Midwest is such a treat.
That's right. That's right. Well, today we're going to be talking about leveraging your fears into intentional bravery. I love this. I think this applies to all walks of life. We'll focus within more of a workplace context, but ultimately we all face challenges and we all have fears, and we get to choose how we respond to the context around us. And we're wired with this fight or flight kind of response from an evolutionary psychology standpoint, but we can choose how we're going to respond to given stimuli if we're aware of what's happening for us and if we make a conscious choice. And so everyone has fear. The question is, what are we going to do with that fear? How is that going to motivate us perhaps, or how are we going to leverage that? And what does it mean to be brave in those moments of fear? I don't think bravery is about doing things that we're comfortable with. Bravery is about doing the things that where we don't have comfort, where we're fearful, where things are very concerning to us, but we we press forward anyways. So we'll unpack all of this and explore this together today. As we get started, I wanted to share Heather's bio with everybody. Heather Vickery is a global leader and success coach that helps people leverage their fears into intentional bravery. A celebrated public speaker, Heather inspires audiences and supports others with the tools they need to live empowered, bold, joy-filled, and successful lives. She's the creator of Empowerment program used by intentional corporations to help foster leaders from the ground floor up and learn to honor the whole employee. She's also a best-selling author and the host of 2 podcasts. Heather is an achiever of unrealistic dreams and the founder of Everyday Brave Revolution. I could go on, Heather, but I'm going to pause there. Anything else you would like to highlight by way of your background and personal context before we dive on in?
No, I mean, I think that's great. I come at things from a very unique approach.
Amazon One Medical presents Painful Thoughts.
I've been on hold to make a doctor's appointment for 23 minutes now. The automated voice has told me 47 times that my call is very important to them. I'm starting to think that they don't think my call is important at all.
With Amazon One Medical 24/7 virtual care, you'll get help fast without having to remain on the line to make an appointment. Amazon One Medical. Healthcare just got less painful.
I have a slew of certifications. So I use human design and subconscious reprogramming and NLP and all of the work that I do. So I just kind of come at this from a very different perspective than what folks normally think of, especially in a corporate environment.
Yeah, great. Well, let's start there. I just kind of laid out kind of my framing at the beginning of this conversation, which may or may not align with your framing. Tell us a little bit about how you approach this topic, and maybe that's built upon some of these certifications. But what are those frameworks that you leverage in thinking about fear and bravery?
Yeah. So it was as if you were reading from my book, John. So we do align. Yeah, we all have fear. We may have different fears, and we all have the opportunity to choose bravely, literally minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day. And what one person thinks is brave may be very different from what another person thinks is brave. And yeah, sometimes being brave is asking for the promotion or the raise, or maybe it's quitting your day job and starting your own business. Sometimes being brave is like, I'm going to get out of bed. Today, I'm going to get out of bed, or today I'm going to make that sales call, or any number of things. I'm going to choose to eat foods that make me feel good, or I'm going to choose to allow myself to have a chocolate bar, whatever you want it to be. You said the magic word, and the magic word is awareness. When you are really intentionally aware of what is for you, what feels brave to you, what you are fearing, what you're afraid of, then you can control the narrative. Until we're aware, we can't do any of those things. But once we know, you cannot unknow. After you're aware, you have to decide to willfully ignore what you know or to do something about it.
And that's tricky in and of itself. Like the self-awareness piece is hard. And I think that's why coaches exist. That's why therapists exist. I mean, there's whole industries around trying to help people become more self-aware and to lean into their uniqueness, and what drives you, what motivates me, what baggage may be holding me back, what self-talk, both negative and positive, is going on, that is influencing how I perceive the world and interact with those around me. We all have that stuff. And so recognizing the need for self-reflection and self-awareness is really, really key. We can talk more about like how to foster that in a minute, but also once you have it, like, let's assume everyone is willing to hold up the mirror in front of their face, that everyone is more consistently self-reflective. You don't always like what you see. You don't always like what comes out. And we do, at that point, if we're aware, we have to choose to respond. And, a lot of people kind of retreat back into what they're comfortable with. Whereas some people are willing to face it head on, and so any thoughts around kind of that difference that you see in people? Maybe part of it's maturity, maybe part of it's life stage, maybe there's a whole bunch of different things that could probably be going into that.
It could come from a number of different things, but you're right. And that's why a lot of us willfully refuse to be aware and take action on that because we don't want to own our own messiness and we are afraid of what we're going to find. But what consistently shows up for me and for all of my clients and all of the people that I talk with about this is it's almost never as bad as you think it's going to be. That feeling of, oh, what is it going to feel like? Am I going to like what I see? Whether it's budgeting and checking out your finances or asking for testimonials or asking for feedback from colleagues or bosses or whatever it is, it's almost never as bad as you fear. I think, interestingly enough, I think the people who sort of fearlessly go into that are probably very unaware of how they're perceived. Usually, those folks tend to not be as thoughtful and as reflective, and their feedback might not be as great. I don't know what that is. But those of us that feel like, oh gosh, what's on the other side of pushing through on this? We're probably pretty good people for the most part, and we're going to get pretty decent feedback. And you never know until you try. And almost always, it's not as bad as you think it's going to be. So, there's a little self-talk in there. There's some mindset work, but mindset's only going to get you so far. I'm a fan. I'm certified in positive psychology. Mindset has to be the foundation of everything, but mindset doesn't get stuff done.
Yeah.
Action gets stuff done. You have to do something about it. And if you want whatever that next step is, there has to be some intentional action. And again, I'll just repeat what I said before because it's so important. If you're not choosing it, if you're not taking it, you're not in control and you're letting somebody else drive the direction of your life. And that does not feel good. Once we are clear on that, that does not feel good. I don't want anybody being in control of my life. I want to. And the only thing we can actually change or control is ourselves, our own thoughts, our own responses, our own behaviors and patterns. And so for me, it's about taking radical responsibility for literally everything that happens in your life. Whatever is causing you conflict, whatever feels icky, whatever feels scary, saying, what choices did I make that got me to this point? And now what choices can I make to get me out of it or to get a different response? Radical responsibility is where it's at.
I love it. Radical responsibility, radical accountability,
Mm-hmm.
not outsourcing our agency to others, which
Yeah,
is what we tend to do. Like
absolutely.
we
It's
tend to become,
easier.
it's easier and we tend to become victims to our circumstances. And it's not to say that people don't have really horrible, bad circumstances.
Absolutely.
Like there are
Absolutely.
so many challenging things that people face. Those things are real. We acknowledge that. We're not trying to diminish that. But within the context any individual finds themselves, they have a choice and they get to choose how they're going to respond to those the context and those elements around them. And while that can be scary, it's also empowering because then
Yes.
we know we have some sense of control. The world is a messy, crazy, complex place, and we don't have a lot of control of most things,
Yeah,
but we can control, what we choose to do, how we choose to spend our
absolutely.
time, how we choose to respond
Mm-hmm.
to certain
Mm-hmm.
situations. And man, I sure wish I could control more. Like when I'm, when I'm dealing with hard things, in an organization, man, I wish I could snap my fingers and just like influence and change things to be the way I feel like it should be. But that's not the world I'm in, right?
It's
Um,
not. No.
and I wish I could snap my fingers and change society to be a healthier place, less polarized, et cetera, et cetera. But I
Yeah.
can't,
Yeah.
like I want to make a positive change in the world, but there's only so much I can directly influence. And so owning what I really do have control over becomes empowering. And then all of a sudden you start to realize, oh, maybe I can have at least small ripples of
Exactly.
influence in
Yes.
other ways outside of my own little sphere.
Yeah. Well, you used my magic word, empowerment. And this is my opportunity to get really clear. Empowerment is an inside job. Nobody gives you empowerment. People will tell you that, oh, I empower people to X, Y, and Z. No, no, you don't. I mean, I hope to guide and lead and mentor and inspire, but the empowerment, that's you showing up for yourself and doing the work. It's what the foundation of what you mentioned at the beginning of the show, the empowerment program, which is a leadership program helping people learn to lead from wherever they sit, you've got to show up and do the work, and you've got to not put the blame on everyone else. And it absolutely has a ripple effect. If each and every one of us actually focused on what we could control and did the very best thing that we could within our values and showed up honestly and authentically and asked for support and offered feedback and asked for feedback, it changes the people around you. We cannot change anything but ourselves, but when we change ourselves, the people around us change. That is just the laws of science.
Yeah, and you started to touch on it. Let's dive a little bit deeper into that awareness piece, the
Yeah.
self-reflective piece, the feedback piece. Like, what are some of those mechanisms that you've seen as you're working with individuals, especially those who may be most resistant to really holding that mirror up in front of them? Maybe it's because of discomfort. Maybe it's because they just feel like they're way too busy. They don't have the time.
Yep.
Whatever the reason,
Mm-hmm.
what are some of those simple things that you would suggest to somebody to start the process of increasing their level of self-awareness?
Yeah. So self-awareness falls under, I have a method called the Brave Method. My book, which is right over my shoulder, breaks that down. It's part memoir, part case study, part get into action. And that falls under what I call the 3 R's: reassessment, reframing, and resilience. So, first, it's remembering that there's never failure, only feedback. I know that's hard for some of us. And actually, that's showing up for me right now. I did something really silly the other day and it feels like such a failure, but I'm like, there's so much to learn from here. Reassessing it and then reframing it. What were the lessons for you? What showed up? What was a result that you can use, knowing that life is here for you, not against you? Like everything that happens is intentional for you. And I know that sometimes when our circumstances are really sucky, that's hard to digest. So I put that caveat out there. But then deciding like, okay, well, what do I want to do next? Get up again, do it differently. Don't repeat the same behaviors that didn't work. I find that most people are ready to do this reassessment reflection piece when things hurt so badly that they kind of don't have a choice. So like, I can't take it anymore. I have to create a change. And I invite you to maybe not wait that long. And
Yeah,
so I
let's
actually,
not wait till we hit rock bottom.
we don't have to do that. So what I recommend is giving yourself just a few minutes a day on a really easy basis, daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually, uh, daily, just maybe something as simple as a 5-minute gratitude practice where you go, what worked today? What am I grateful for? Or what were my lessons? Where did I win? With gratitude, we're scientifically proving over and over, like the science is all there, that people who practice regular gratitude, listing what you're grateful for and why, 3 to 5 things every day, neurologically absolutely shifts you from a state of anxiety and overwhelm and stress into feeling more peaceful, relaxed, and joyful. So it's not that hard. Set a timer, get an accountability partner, say, hey, let's do this together. You can speak them out loud. You can text a friend. You can get one of my gratitude journals, like whatever you want to do, just a few minutes a day. And then on a bigger scale, goals are great. Set goals, but also give yourself a little flexibility, set commitments under those goals, and then reassess what worked, what didn't work. What do I want to take forward? What do I want to ditch? Like, why was that a goal? Maybe that thing doesn't serve you anymore. Maybe you just thought it was. Or if we're not constantly reassessing, we start, we continue doing things that we don't want to be doing anymore, that aren't taking us in the direction we want to go because the direction we want to go has shifted. And then taking that and doing it on a bigger level, monthly, quarterly, annually. It makes such a big difference and it doesn't have to take a lot of time. I think it's very difficult for most people to be self motivated on that, which is why a mentor, a guide, a coach, an accountability partner is absolutely key. I have so many accountability relationships. I'm in masterminds. I have my own coach. I have kind of just a life accountability partner. We talk once a month. I have a team that holds me accountable because if I don't do my job, they can't do theirs. Like finding different ways to help you stay accountable for what is important changes the game.
For sure. And as you were describing that, I'm thinking about sunk cost fallacy that I think a lot of people struggle with.
Yeah.
Because you invest a lot of your heart and soul your attention into various aspects of your
Yeah.
life, relationships, work environments, projects, whatever. And so sometimes it's scary to do that self-reflection and to, you know, have that awareness, because then you have to kind of be willing to acknowledge,
Yes.
oh, this thing
Yeah.
isn't working. Like, it's something I've invested so much time and energy into. It's part of my identity, etc. Like, it's something that I have felt very strongly about in the
Yeah.
past. But to be able to come to a place where you can say, but is this actually working now? Is it
Yeah.
serving its purpose?
Do I want this?
Is it getting me to where I need to
Eh,
be? Right.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing. Like, as you were talking, I was just thinking about a couple things that I've been involved with over the last few years that, I feel very strongly about. Like, I've been very invested in, but they haven't really been working out. And so,
Yeah.
like, I'm dabbling in a lot of different things all the time. But these are things, like, I'm the two things I was thinking of specifically. I'm like, yeah, these are things that I've really, really been passionate about, and they're just not working out the way that I had planned.
Yeah.
And I either get to choose, am I going to, like, take that feedback and either pivot those things or readjust them in a way that maybe can help them to be more successful, or is it time to just cut my losses? Like,
Yeah.
I put a lot of time
Yeah.
into it, and it was a useful exercise, a useful experience. I learned a lot, but maybe now is not the time, and that's
Yeah.
okay. But that's a scary thing,
It's so
to be
scary.
able to accept that and to move forward, especially when it's around your identity,
Mhm.
around long-term relationships, etc.
Yeah. Well, you said the thing I think that really is pivotal in it, which is you learned a lot of things. And so the invitation that I have for everyone, especially if something's showing up for you with this, you're like, "Oh, that thing, I know that's not for me anymore, but I don't want to look like a failure. I don't want to disappoint people. I've already put so much money into it." Like whatever the story is, allow yourself to look at all of the things you now know that you didn't know before you started. And that can be your payoff. And that can be enough because whatever you move into next, you never unlearn the lessons you learned from that previous experience. And you may be doing everybody else a favor. Maybe there are other people on the other end of that experience who also are afraid to cut their losses, who also don't want to disappoint you. Have some open, honest conversations with people. And I know that that's hard, but I promise you it is worth it. And, get a little support, have a little cheerleader. It's something I do for my clients all the time is I'll give them a pep talk. I'll give you some,
Mhm.
subconscious reprogramming tools to feel confident to have these conversations, learn to trust yourself a little bit more and know that what is showing up for you is showing up for a reason and you can trust yourself.
Yeah. And while it's maybe scary to come to that realization and to decide to pivot or to adjust or even abandon previous things that you'd been working on,
Yeah,
we just need to realize, like, we only have a limited bandwidth. We have limited amount of
that's right.
time and resources. So
Yeah,
anything that we're choosing to do means that there's other things that we can't do.
that's right.
And as soon as, if I can be honest enough with myself to recognize, okay, this thing, I've learned from it, it's not working. I don't have to, like, throw it away, but I
That's right.
maybe set it aside for a time. Right. And what that does is all of a sudden it frees up extra time, extra
That's right.
resources, extra mental energy, right? And capacity. And now I can explore other things. And I'm sure it's been this way for you. It's definitely been this way for me. Oftentimes it's when I finally come to that painful decision and I'm willing to do it and, like, set this thing aside, that all of a sudden that's when I find my next new great,
Of course.
successful, innovative thing that I'm going to start doing,
Of course.
because I freed up some bandwidth to do it. And if I had
Mhm.
never had the courage to set that thing aside, then I would never have gotten to this new opportunity.
That's
And
right.
so, it's the old cliche, with every door closing, another one opens.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
cliche, but it's true. Like, if we
It's
can
true.
if we can lean into it and learn from what didn't work before, all it's going to do is make us stronger the next time for the next thing that we're trying to do. Again, relationships, projects, businesses, whatever.
Everything.
Yeah.
Anything. It's really important to remember that everything we say yes to means we're saying no to something else. And
Yeah.
everything we say no to means we're saying yes to something else. Be intentional about what you're saying yes to. Everything cannot be a yes. And also, what are you giving up to say yes. Some of my most successful clients, some of the most successful mentors that I've worked with on my own, ask themselves that question before they take anything on. If I say yes to this, what am I giving up? Make sure you know.
Yeah, make sure you know, and be conscious of the decision. And I've been there too. I like to please people. I like to say yes.
Right? Yeah.
I like people to need me. I like to be able to to come in and help, all those things. But I have to also recognize that there's only so much that I possibly can do.
That's
And
right.
at some point, if I spread myself too thin, not only am I doing a disservice to others, I'm doing a disservice to myself, and I'm
Absolutely.
probably not fulfilling my own potential because I'm too scattered, because I'm not focusing in on what's most meaningful to me, or what is really core and true to my values. So all of that is super important. Now, in our last few minutes, let's talk just a little bit more about this bravery piece.
Okay.
We take our fears. You know, fears are natural; they're
Yes.
there. We don't just
Yeah.
get to like push them away. Um, we're
A
not
lot of
about
people
like,
try.
yeah, putting your head in the sand doesn't work.
Nope.
So, I mean, you can try that, but it's not going to work. And ultimately, we need to find ways to lean into those things that make us uncomfortable. If you had one or two kind of core takeaways from your book in relation to how that can lead into intentional bravery, what would those be?
Yeah, I would recommend that you list them out. Like be really honest with yourself and literally get a pen and paper, or if you're a digital person, go ahead and use your computer and write out all the things that you feel fear for, and don't worry about how silly or small or stupid you think they are. Keep them all there. If I go out of the house in my sweatpants, somebody's going to think I'm lazy. Whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. Write out whatever you think that it is. And then in the book, we literally take you through, what's the worst thing that could happen if you do this? What's the worst thing that could happen? It's usually not that bad. What's the best thing that could happen? That's pretty great. What's likely to happen? Is it worth the risk? Right? Basically, getting to a point where you trust yourself more quickly to say, "Oh, I'm afraid of this. This feels like something," and be investigative with it. Again, once you've shined light on it, once you're aware, you have all the power and you get to choose what bravery looks like. And I like to remind people that you get to decide every day what you've got to give to that day. And if you wake up and say, I've only got 15% today, that's what we're going to do, the bare minimum. I'm going to check off the boxes I have to check off, and I'm going to be really kind to myself for everything else. And then you give that 15%, that's 100%. You get to decide what you've got each day. And if you are compassionate with yourself in those moments, you will feel more brave. The more brave choices you make, the more brave you feel when making choices. And it puts you again in that position of power for your own life, and it grows. Anything that you feed, anything you give attention to, negative or positive, grows. So the more you do it, the easier that muscle gets flexed, and it ripple effects for the people around you.
Yeah, well said. Heather, this has just been a great conversation. I think we've just scratched the surface. There's so much more that we could say, but you have a book that people
I
can go
do.
to learn more. Before you wrap things up, I just wanted to give you a chance to share with the audience how they can connect with you, find out more about your work, where they can find your book, and then give us a final word on the topic for today.
Yeah, thank you so much. So the book, I don't know, can I say the actual title
Yeah,
on your show, John? The book is
sure.
called Fuck Fearless, Making the Brave Leap. And it is just that notion, like we don't need to be fearless. I call bullshit on all of that. Embrace your bravery instead. Because I'm a disruptor and I like to use curse words to get people's attention. You can find the book anywhere you enjoy books. If you want a signed copy, go to my website, vickeryandco.com. And that's where you can see all of the things that I do. I am on Instagram, a little on LinkedIn. I know this is a corporate podcast, and LinkedIn is, we're working on it. But I am out there and easy to find. And I invite anybody who's curious about what is possible for you to connect with me. I'm easy to talk to, and we can see what works for you. If you are a leader, ERG leadership and the empowerment program seems interesting. Let's talk about what that could look like within your organization. Because when you have a staff of empowered, inspired people, everybody wins, and also everybody makes more money. So vickeryandco.com is the easiest way to find me.
Wonderful. Thank you, Heather. It's been a real pleasure. I encourage the audience to reach out, get connected, find out more about what Heather can do for you. And as always, I hope everyone can stay healthy and safe, that you can find meaning and purpose at work each and every day. And I hope you all have a great week. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the podcast. We hope you stay healthy and safe, and please join us again soon.